What, Cat? What? Look, it's 1:03 in the morning. What are you even doing up? What are you doing up? I have to talk to the people. I have to talk to these guys. Can you go lay down? Can you go lay down? Okay, why me? Why Beyond Beauty 3 did you pick me to do this challenge? Most people that do this challenge, they're couples. They are couples, and they can look at each other and go, I don't know. What's your favorite color? Kat, what's your favorite color? And she could tell me, and then we could tell you. This is not a solo person's game. I don't know how to answer these. And I've been watching all these challenges, and most of them, as far as I can recall, they were only 10 questions. This one is 25. I have to answer 25 questions. Now, I pulled up some Pee Wee Herman hosting the Joan Rivers show, and I was going to pull up some of his questions as a joke, just as a joke. But actually, some of the questions he did as a joke to his guest the night he hosted the Joan Rivers show, some of those questions are actually in here. So I can't even make a funny. I cannot make a funny. A cat. That's my Milo's. That's my Milo's. Non-sponsored. But if Milo's wants to sponsor me, Milo's, the tea of the South. All right, so this is it. 1 o'clock in the morning, I got about midnight. I received this and figured, well, I'm where I need to be. I might as well knock this out now. So you're getting a sleepy version of the answers. All right, guys. So this email states, hey, Rick, I tagged you. Below you can find a list of the questions and answers, or for you to answer. If you feel like playing along. Well, how can I see? Hold on. And you can tag 2 people as well. Oh, so I get to torture some people by tagging them. Oh, who would I even tag? Who do I dislike enough to send this to? Why did you send this to me? As the lights are moving, so my green screen just totally messes up, and I have no other lights. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Maybe. Let's see. Ooh, not towards me. Ooh, that leaves a hot spot. You know what? Green screen off. This does not have to be a professional thing. Let's put the light over here so I get at least a little color on me. All right, so guys, here we go. My name. Number 1 question. Do I have to say my name? My name is Rick. And I'm not kidding, that's my name. Well, you emailed me. So it is Rick Sare, Sare at gmail.com. Just in case anybody's curious. What does your name mean? You must be talking about my channel name. Oh, God. My channel name is Nomadic Hippie. Now, that was not my original name. My original name was Glass Geek because I have a website, glassgeek.com. I was a Google Glass Explorer for many years, since back in 2012. Hence the name Glass Geek. And came out with a bunch of products. Came out with a channel name for my YouTube channel, Glass Geek Daily Vlogs. Over a couple years of not growing and really not grabbing hold, Glass Geek just wasn't a great name for a YouTube channel. It was a great name for my website, because it was built for app designers, app developers, and stuff like that, and clothing designers, the geek kind, uh, to sell stuff on. I could do everything on my website, and but for YouTube, it just wasn't working. So I was at the Superman Museum in Metropolis, Illinois, and the owners of the place, we were just talking, trying to come up with cool names, something that could look good on a t-shirt, look good on a hat, and something that people may gravitate towards on YouTube. And they named me. They gave me a cat backpack with my name on it, Nomadic Hippie. Ever since then, it just kind of stuck, and it's a really good name. I really enjoy it. Everything you can do with the name Nomadic Hippie just sounds great. You can come up with some cool designs, some cool t-shirts. If you had the time. If I was full-time in my motorhome right now, I would be devoting 100% of my time to doing something with this name. At the moment, nothing. So nomadic hippie means I travel, which I travel. I live full-time in the RV, as the cat is going crazy. I live full-time in my RV and full-time here in my truck, and all I do is travel. Now, I prefer one day to be able to generate enough revenue off of this to actually live full-time in my motorhome and just travel. That's my long-term plan. Where are you from? I am from near Orlando, Florida, Claremont area, in a town called Wildwood, Florida. I used to live in Bushnell, Florida for about 13 years. Before that, for about 10 years in a little town called Lake Panasoffkee, Florida, which is kind of in the middle. It's a triangle. There's Bushnell, Lake Panasoffkee, and then if you come back at the other way of a triangle would be Wildwood. Everything's within 10 miles or so. So at the moment, for the last 7 years maybe, I've lived in Wildwood, Florida. Prior to that, before the villages overtook everything, a little town called Fruitland Park, and the villages in that area, but it wasn't the villages then. They just kind of took over, kicked everybody out, and all the old fogies from up north kind of came down and took over everything. So in Florida, if you live there, you end up eventually having to move because New Yorkers, New Jersey people, and stuff like that, they come down and they live where you once lived. Okay, so who did you look like growing up? You want to answer that one, Kat? You want to answer that one? Sean Cassidy from the Partridge Family. In my head, that's who I look like. Same hair growing up. He was a teen idol to the girls, and he was a guy that every guy wanted to be. And I thought of myself as a cross between it was David Cassidy. So we had David Cassidy and probably Tiny Tim. That's who I look like. I look like a cross between Tiny Tim and David Cassidy from the Partridge Family. Weird combination, I know. Best characteristics. Oh God. If you answer questions like this, it just sounds conceited. What are your best characteristics? Yeah, I don't know. How do you even answer that question? That's a difficult one. I don't have any good characteristics that I can think of. Yeah, none. I don't have any good characteristics. Sorry to disappoint. Maybe my characteristic of if people love procrastinators, that's my best characteristic. If you don't like procrastinators, whatever. Favorite thing about yourself. These are all okay. That's another thing similar to characteristics. Wow. Best characteristics, or no, favorite thing about yourself. This is a rated G show. I can't say what my favorite thing about myself is. I'd get demonetized. Um, which parent are you most like and why? Well, I would have loved to have been like my mother. My mom is amazing. She's like a total hippie. When we were kids growing up, like late 60s, early 70s, she was a hitchhiker, kind of going from house to house, hopping around. We just kind of lived that nomadic hippie life as kids, because my mom and dad were divorced, and I was living with my mom as a youngin'. And just being a free spirit, and the cat is blocking my light, being a free spirit and just going with the flow was our life. And if I would have stayed with my mom and not ended up as a preteen moving in with my father, I think I would have been more like my mom. That she's that beach Malibu hippie Southern California type person, and I always looked up towards her as that. But moving in with my father as a preteen and living with him, I think I ended up turning more into him. Everything he's done, that I known of when I was a kid growing up, and then going back after the military and visiting him and stuff like that, I realized that a lot of stuff that he went through, I'm going through for some reason. It's weird. It's like they always say you follow in your parents' footsteps, or you follow in your father's footsteps or something, not even trying to, but you end up doing it. I don't know why. So I'd say more like my father. Um, are your grandparents still married? My grandparents are, as of 2012, all deceased. I was fortunate enough to have my grandparents, um, all my grandparents on my dad's side, on my mom's side, pretty much my entire life. My great grandma and everybody, I had them all up until I started getting old. Once you start getting old, you start losing people. And back in 2012, I lost my last grandma, my mom's mom. And so none of them are married because they're dirt. They're not around anymore. They're in in the ground. They're in the ground. Um, what relative was important to you growing up and why? What relative? My cousin Dwayne. He's a DJ on KBOO Radio in Portland, Oregon. Does the Grateful Dead hour. He turned me on as a little kid. My very first album. He got me my very first vinyl album, and it was Johnny Cash's Live at Folsom Prison or something. I love Boy Named Sue for when I was a little kid. And then every time I'd put on a Partridge Family album or something, he'd give me Steppenwolf or Live or something. And then as I got to be like 5, 6 years old, he turned me on to the Beatles, and just got me hooked. And then he came to visit us one time when I was about 13 years old. We lived in Northern California, and he came to stay with us for a weekend because he was going to go see the Grateful Dead in San Francisco. And and I was the only one in the house with the turntable. So hey, Rick, can I go in your bedroom and listen to this new Jerry Garcia record? Yeah, sure. He played it. I didn't know what it was. I go, what is this, man? At the time, I was listening to Foghat and Led Zeppelin and the Cars and stuff like that. Not knowing who the Dead were, nothing. Really didn't like them. But my cousin was such an influence on me. Anything he liked, I wanted to like. And slowly but surely, kind of got into that groove, went the Dead way, and it changed my life. And so, yeah, I think my cousin was the biggest influence on me. Cousin Dwayne. What do you call your grandparents? Dead, deceased. That's what I call them. What do I call my grandparents? Grandma, grandpa? I, yeah, I don't know what else you're supposed to call them. Yeah, just grandma, grandpa. Just that's all I called them. Didn't get to really see them as much as I would have liked to. I've lived with my grandparents periodically. You flunk out in school, your parents get fed up with you. You're not doing good, so hey, if you don't do good, we're going to send you with grandma and grandpa. They'll make you. Grandpa will set you straight. Didn't send me straight. My grandparents were freaking awesome. Do what you want. I miss my grandparents. They were great. Biggest accomplishment. Wow. Um, I would say uh, getting intimate with my ex-wife and making her have my children, but that's not really an accomplishment. That's kind of just happens. Kat, what would you say my biggest accomplishment is? Um, sticking. No, I was going to say sticking with my jobs for as long as I do. I don't job hop. Um, I stick with my jobs for years and years and years. But is that an accomplishment? I don't know. I would say you guys making friends out of strangers and making in your head anyway, thinking, these guys are part of my life, and being able to do that and just go places, go anywhere I want to across the United States or the globe, make friends, lifelong friends. And is that an accomplishment? I don't know. Because other than that, I really don't have any accomplishments. Everything else is just kind of given to you, right? I mean, like if you're in the military, awards are just given to you. You go to Iraq, you don't know what your CO does behind your back. And next thing you know, you're in formation. Here's a pin for this or that. Is that really an accomplishment? I don't know. So no, I don't know what my biggest accomplishment is. Maybe I haven't even had any accomplishments yet. Biggest fear, that my daughter does not get better. My daughter is extremely bad right now. She had MRSA, and she's diabetic, so her lower spine is totally messed up. The MRSA just ate everything in her bones, and she really can't walk. She uses a walker and a wheelchair now, and it happened just like fast. She used to go everywhere, go to Costa Rica, go all these other things, save the animals, save the sea turtles. She used to do all that stuff. Then all of a sudden, real fast, just deteriorated. And then, so I had her sign up for disability because she can't work. She can't do anything. She keeps getting denied disability. She's not allowed to go to the hospital or doctor anymore. They're refusing to see her now. Doesn't have Medicare, like I said, Medicare, Medicaid. All the money out of my paychecks every single week go to her to be able to pay her rent, be able to help with her food or transportation and everything. And my biggest fear is that she's not going to get any more help. And because it's looking that way, her attorney said there's nothing more they can do. The state of Florida will not do disability. The only way she could do disability is if she lies, goes to a psychiatrist, and they tell her that she has to pretend to be crazy to get disability, because she can't get disability because she can't walk or move. And the whole thing's crazy. So my biggest fear is she's not going to get any better, and it's just going to get worse and worse. And yeah, that's probably it. Eye color, blue. My eye color is blue. I don't know what the cat's eye color is. I think it's just cat eyes. She has cat eyes. Me, blue. Can't see it right now because the lights, my eyes look black, but they're blue. Most important thing in your life. Don't give me that look. I'm not saying you. Just life is important. I can't think of anything. What is the most important thing? Kids, obviously, my kids are important. My ex-wife's important. um Ex-girlfriend's important. My ex-girlfriend's kids that are kind of like my step kids, well, they are I mean, they're important. But most important, if I have to pick one thing that's most important, I'm getting old. I'm getting old, I think. Well, I know I am. I don't think I am. I'm getting old. I think starting to scratch things off my bucket list now is becoming important. Stopping to smell the roses more, not focusing so much on money. I mean, if YouTube works good to where I can afford gas, food, cat food, some litter, and once a year paying my auto insurance, because I pay by the year, it's really cheap. It's $245 a year. So if I can afford $245 a year, $75 a month cell phone bill, some cat and food, doing this and taking off in Cousin Eddie and just scratching things off my bucket list, because you never know. We can just go like that. So that's most important. And then when I'm gone, making sure that I still have a decent life insurance policy and stuff to leave the kids. Not too much. I mean, just enough to where they could do what they need to do, but still have to work. I don't want my kids ever not to have to work. Uh, I don't know. Honest, I really don't know what's important. I don't have anything important. I mean, I have a lot of things that are important, but nothing that supersedes everything else, I think. Bucket list items is kind of what I'm focused on now. Stop focusing on the money aspect of everything. Stop working so much. Start stopping and seeing things, seeing what's out there. I think that's the most important thing right now. What has required the most courage in your life? Who wrote these questions? Killing. No, I can't even do that. I was going to say killing a spider in a bathtub, but that requires a lot of courage on my part. I'm deadly afraid of spiders, but even when they're trapped in a bathtub or a kitchen sink, I can't kill them. I have to get somebody there to do it. So that there's no courage there. Going to Iraq took no courage. That was duty. That wasn't courage. You know what took courage? Okay. When I moved out of my mom, away from my mom when I was about 10 years old, my parents thought I was old enough to make that judgment call that which parent you want to live with, right? So my dad flew us up to Reno, Nevada, up where him and my ex stepmom lived. We were supposed to go for like 2 weeks. Get up there, my dad has everything set up for us. He bought me an Indian motorcycle, bought my sister a little mini bike, and we were only going to stay for 2 weeks and then fly back to mom's. End of the 2 weeks came, my mom flown up to pick us up. Next, she was leaving the next day, and both parents set us down and asked, where do you want to go? Do you want to go back home with your mom, or do you want to live here with your dad? I chose to live with dad. My sister chose to move down with my mom. Everything was fine for a couple years. I mean, but we all separated. And then as I grew up, going through high school, everything else, I mean, they were hundreds of miles away. And I never talked to my mom. Never really talked to my sister. And that went on for about, I went to Iraq, went everywhere else. And my aunt was telling me these horror stories, the way my mom treated me when I was an infant or something. She was brainwashing me. And I didn't talk to my mom. I didn't talk to my mom for 30 years, maybe. Then my grandmother passed away, and I had to fly out to go to the funeral, and I went to stay with my mom. And yeah, that was nervous. I didn't know what to talk to her about. I haven't talked to her or seen her in 30 years. I think that was like, I don't know if that's what you call courage, but I was definitely nervous. And first time I walked up and knocked on that door, I think that did it. But I'm so glad I inside, you get that weird feeling, but I was so glad I did it. And still, so after the funeral, we still don't talk anymore, really. But we do. So like if we're ever thinking about each other, we don't have to communicate, but every once in a while, like I could just type in XOXO, hit send, and send her a text message. She knows I'm thinking about her. But I mean, our lives are so different. But but I know I can call her on the phone right now, and I don't have to feel weird. But it took that initial meeting to do that. And your mom's important, and I know that, and I wish I could be closer to her. But I still feel that choosing to stay with my father instead of going back home with mom, it wasn't a great decision. And it kind of changed, it formed a weird thing in my life. So, but I don't know. I think that took the most courage in my part. That's the worst thing I ever had to do. And probably the best thing at the same time, because now I know my mom still loves me and I could talk to her whenever I need to. Favorite childhood memory. Wow, this is going to be a long. I can't believe you are asking 25 questions. Favorite childhood memory. God, I have so many good memories. My life with my mom was incredible. I have so many great memories of being, 5, 6, 7 years old, with mom, and the adventures we used to go on. Concerts in the park, and my mom would just let us run free. It was the 60s, 70s, early 70s. You're 5, 6 years old. You could just run with hundreds of thousands of people. Your parents don't have to keep an eye on you because the crowd watches you. It was a totally different time. And then when I went to go visit my mom during my grandmother's funeral, she actually told me that. She goes, you guys as little kids, we knew you guys were going to be fine. Always knew you guys were going to be fine out there. It was a totally different time. But favorite childhood memory. Hop in the rail cars. When I was about 12, 13, hop in the rail cars because I always had freedom. Even with my dad, I could do whatever I wanted. I would say hop in the rail cars to go catfishing at 2 o'clock in the morning as like a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid. The fishing pond that we used to go to was a couple miles down the railroad tracks by this railroad trestle. And you just hop the train. It's going to be going slow through there. You can hop off, go fishing, and you just stay there till 5, 6 in the morning. Hopefully come home with a bunch of catfish. That was a good memory. You and all your friends get together and just go do that. All of our parents just let us go do whatever. Like I said, it was a much different time. Favorite color? That was a Pee Wee Herman question to Susan Sarandon. What's your favorite color? What's your sign? Favorite color? Blue, aqua blue, actually, ocean aqua, Caribbean blue. Favorite drink? Well, if they would sponsor me, it would be this one right here, Milo's sweet tea, red, not yellow, red, real sweet tea. Probably favorite drink. If it was soda, Dr. Pepper, but I don't really drink soda anymore. Favorite fairy tale? Wow. I'm a Disney kid. And pretty much every Disney movie and story is a Grimm fairy tale. So I pretty much like anything from the Grimm brothers. Or favorite one, Snow White's a pretty good one. Dark. Cinderella's a really dark story. The original, not the Disney one. Mother Goose stuff, never got into Mother Goose. I'm more of a Grimm person. Pick and choose. Let's see here. Getting close. Favorite holiday destination? Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida. Halloween Horror Nights. That because Halloween's my favorite time of year. Favorite ice cream flavor? Cherry Garcia is my go-to Ben & Jerry's, but for a time they had Marsha Marshmallow. You know, the Brady Bunch, Marsha. They had Marsha Marshmallow Ben & Jerry's. If you ever find it, that's the S right there. Favorite music genre? I like all music. And then there's some music I don't like. So I guess I can't say I like all music. Classic rock, definitely. Beatles, Stones, Zeppelin, Who. Country, new country, can't stand it. It's American Idol. I think, as much as I love Dolly Parton, I think she ruined country music. Back in the day, it was Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton got super famous, super fast, kind of turned country pop, and then country music started going downhill. And I love Dolly Parton. She's sweet. She's awesome. Kenny Rogers and the new edition, or what, back in the day, good. But once that, there was a turning point in country music, and it became pop. And I stopped liking it. If I was going to pick country, it would be outlaw country. That'd be Waylon, Willie, and the Boys. New country, no. It's all about pickup trucks, slinging mud, and Georgia roads. Yeah. So, but old country, more, not Hank Williams Sr. old, but Marty Robbins, though. Marty Robbins is right around that time. So I can listen to that. I could jam on some El Paso. And yeah, so heavy rock, classic rock, country rock, Skinner, Marshall Tucker, and outlaw country. Let's see here. Two more. Favorite physical activity. Physical. This is a G-rated show. I don't want to get demonetized. I can't tell you what my favorite physical activity is. Get your mind out of the gutter. Favorite quote? Growing older, but not up. Jimmy Buffett. That's it. That is all 20. I made it through all 25. And I'm sure it was just as riveting to you guys. So 25. Let's see here. It says I'm allowed to call out 2 people. Who can I call out? And I would have to send this list to their email address, and I don't know nobody's email addresses. Let's see. Who could I call out? You know what? Let me open this up. Let me see who has not done the challenge. Let's go to subscriptions here. Has Slow Momentum? I wonder if you guys have done this challenge. I don't believe you and Miss BJ have. So I'm going to call out Slow Momentum because they're a team. They can bounce things off each other. And you know what? No, let's do something totally different. let's do Slow Momentum and BJ as separate. So he has to go and answer the questions solo like I just did. And BJ, since she's in a whole other pickup truck, probably right beside him, she could answer the same questions El Solo because she has a fan club, right? She has to answer these questions for her fans. So I'm going to do one channel, two people separate. That's what I'm going to do. So BJ and Keith, right? Yeah, Keith. I probably messed up on your name before, so it's late at night. So this challenge goes out to you guys, Slow Momentum. Or the next question does. God, what am I even talking about? Anyway, thanks for putting me through the ringer, Beyond Beauty. I really appreciate it. And please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, everybody.